Hey, my name's Jared Moon, and I'm part of a group of underground athletes you've probably never even heard of before. Most of us don't even have gym memberships. We don't have every piece of equipment known to man, nor do we have a ton of time to train. And we don't need it because we're achieving amazing things without it. We are Garage Gym Athletes, and these are our stories. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Jared Moon here, and welcome to the Garage Gym Athlete podcast. With me is Joe Courtney. What's up, Joe?
How's it going?
It's going pretty good. And we have Jason Woodman. How's it going?
Good. How are you guys?
Outstanding.
I'm crazy sore.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been complaining about it all morning. This is the second time I've talked to him today, and he's complaining about it again.
I'm just going to keep bringing it up.
I mean, wasn't yesterday technically rest day? Like, what are you sore from?
I'm sore from Friday. From like 4 days ago.
He mixed
deload week.
He mixed up the hard to kill workouts and did our hardest deload week at the end of our hardest workout during the deload week, too close to fit week. But I don't even know. Are you even testing? I don't think you're testing, are you, Joe?
Not today.
Are you gonna cherry? Are you gonna cherry pick your fit week?
We'll see what happens when I wake up each day. It's a new day every day.
Okay.
You're not gonna earn that killing comfort patch if you're cherry picking workouts.
Yeah, not gonna happen. Well, anyway, let's get to Jason, man. So Jason's been on before. I can't recall the season. I never can because I don't look it up ahead of time. I would. Do you remember which season you were on?
Maybe 6. I went back and listened to it just so I'd make sure I didn't completely just repeat everything I said. And it was almost a year ago because we were talking about, I just had a baby.
Season 6, episode 1.
Yep. There you go. Season 6, episode 1. So we had just had our baby, and I think I mentioned the election in there somewhere. So I was like, I was like, okay, so clearly it was early November.
Awesome. Okay, perfect. Well, then we're going to get caught up from there. And thanks, Joe, for your handy note-taking skills. You able to confirm that relatively fast. Okay, so give us an update, a quick intro for anyone who hasn't gone back and listened to your first episode, and then I'll ask you some catch-up questions. So quick intro, who you are, what you do, all that good stuff.
Sure, yeah. So my name's Jason. I'm I'm an IT professional for healthcare organizations. So I do a lot of computer stuff. I'm a dad. I have 5 kids. We have a busy, crazy life. So a year ago, we had just had a baby, so that we went up to number 5. I'm happy to report we still only have 5 children. So
nice.
We have not added any. We haven't lost any either.
Yeah, I was gonna say you haven't lost any as well, which is huge at that number.
Successful year. So yeah, that's about it. I started doing Garage Gym Athlete programming about 2 years ago. Probably about 2 years ago is when I started one men, one barbell. And so that's when I moved into my garage and started working out there. And the one thing I've kind of found that I compete in right now is powerlifting meets. I've been kind of enjoying that just because it's a little bit lower key. You don't feel quite so wrecked the day afterwards. I did a couple local CrossFit competitions a couple years ago, and I'd always come back from those and just want to go lay on the couch for 72 hours. But
they're brutal, man.
Yeah, but the powerlifting meet that I did earlier this year, I was ready to get back to it on Monday. So I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, hitting up 3. I mean, was it 9 total attempts, right?
Yeah, and I ended up skipping an attempt in my first meet just because how my bench went. My friend who was kind of my pseudo coach for the day. She was like, "You can go for it, or you could save some energy for your deadlifts." And let's go for the deadlifts.
Yeah, I mean, I bet you're probably more mentally exhausted at the end of that. As I have not competed in pure powerlifting competition. I mean, I did some stuff in the military, but I wouldn't count it as a true powerlifting meet. But I just feel like other competition tournaments I've been in, sometimes they're way more mentally draining than they are physically. Is that what you found?
Yeah, it's just a really long day and just kind of keeping track of everything. I got really lucky. I have a friend who, she's a higher level powerlifting competitor, And I had messaged her right before the meet, and I said, "Hey, just give me some tips. Like, how should I kind of structure my warm-ups? Like, what should my attempts be based on, my maxes?" And she said, "Well, I'm not doing anything that day. Should I just come and be your handler?" And so like she came and walked me through everything, loaded all my weights for me all day. Like, she's like, "You're not touching a weight unless you're competitively lifting it." And nice. I was like, "Okay, sounds great to me."
That is not the garage mathlete mindset.
No, it's not. It was really weird for me. I'm like, I'm used to loading my own barbell, but okay, sure.
I'm used to duct taping a kettlebell to the end if I need a little bit more.
Yeah. Well, I think, speaking of, I think there was a picture or a video I posted a while back of me, like, we were doing bottom up kettlebell presses, and my kettlebell was too light, but my next one up was too heavy. So I was just balancing a 5-pound plate on top of the kettlebell.
I remember that, because I don't know if it was like, me or somebody said something.
With like goose egg with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a brave move. Because you could have just one little piece of tape and you're good.
Time. Takes too much time to do that.
I've been in some situations like that. It's funny, I have a PR deadlift video, old school video. I think it was like 500 or 505 or something like that. But I only had thick bumpers. And so, and I needed like 2 5-pound plates to go on top, and they wouldn't fit. I just didn't have any more room. And so I duct taped them to the top of the plates. And you see it as soon as I drop the weight at the top after I hit the lift, and they just pop off. And yeah, I love the garage mathlete mentality, man. It's awesome. So
make do with what you got.
Let's talk about, because you have far more experience than probably, most anyone we interview. 5 kids. A lot of people who are in the garage gym athlete scene have kids, 1, 2, 3, some of us, but 5, that's next level stuff, man. So you, was it November? So November to now, your newest is 1. So like,
yep, she'll be 1. Yeah. Her birthday is at the end of this month.
Okay. So
the end of October.
That's the year I kind of want to talk about. So 4 kids plus, a brand new baby. Like, how has that been in being a garage gym athlete? Let's just say over the last almost year, and fitting everything in, because it's not easy. And I'm sure it doesn't get that much easier the more you add on kid wise. So I'd love to hear your perspective.
Yeah. Well, so first of all, what really helps is my wife she also uses our garage. She has her own programming that she follows, but she's a former personal trainer. So fitness is really important, like working out, training, all that kind of stuff is really important to her. And so because it's important to her, it's really easy for me to say, "Hey, this is a priority for me." And she says, "Yeah, let's make it happen." So we've kind of structured our day where we both get our opportunities to be out in the garage doing what we need to do, and we help each other make that happen. So one thing that works out and helps out for me a lot is I work from home. So it's easy for me, to hop out and just get it done. Like obviously there's no commute to the gym, but there's also no commute home from work taking up part of my day either. So like I sign off from work right here, my work computer's right here, and I throw on a pair of shorts and I go out to the garage. So the transitions are quicker, which is nice. But yeah, having someone in your life who's supportive is huge. The kids get it. They all think it's cool. They like to, it's just starting to get to the point now in Arizona where it's not burn your face off hot outside.
No melting skin anymore.
Yeah. So the kids like it because they'll come out and ride their bikes while I work out in the afternoon, evening time. And so they'll cruise around on the street. There's a whole gaggle of children that live on our street. And so there's like 15 kids just rolling up and down the street on bikes in the afternoons. It's hilarious.
That's awesome.
But yeah, so you just kind of make it work. And there are days where, our life is crazy. We've got 3 kids doing basketball a couple times a week now. And, there's always some school function and stuff like that. And so if there's a day where I just don't have time to get out into the garage, I either, throughout the work day, like I'll take 5-minute breaks and I'll go like, just, do some something light, and just some, do some random kettlebell movements or do some banded movements and things like that. And just, kind of just move a little bit for the day because I want to at least get something in. Or some days I just have to get up early and do it, or other days I just recognize that life's not going to allow for it and just move on and do it a different day. But
that sounds very similar to my approach. And so I'm curious if you're the same way. I've talked about this before on different podcast episodes about, I used to think I wasn't a very disciplined person because I would never do things typically at the exact same time of the day. But I really just found out that means I'm not a routine person, but I'm a disciplined person. Like I will train almost every day, but sometimes it'll be in the morning. Sometimes it'll be in the afternoon. Sometimes it'll be, just whenever I can fit it in. I'd love for you to talk about that because it sounds like that's exactly what you do. Like you fit it in wherever you can. Do you feel like that hurts your consistency at all? Because some people argue that it would, but I would love to get your take on whether or not you feel like that affects your consistency.
So when I'm more routine about it, like I work out at the same, I train at the same time. I feel like I get more in a groove and I'm more likely to, stick with it. On a day where I know I'm not working out at my normal time. That's the day where I have to then kind of think to myself, okay, I'm out of my routine now. Now I need to really focus and make sure this happens. Cause it's not when I'm normally used to doing it. I also travel for work every once in a while, and those travel weeks are like garbage weeks for workouts.
Yeah.
I get in and I always have like this mindset going into my trip. I'm like, okay, traveling on Sunday, I'm getting in late. I'm going to get up Monday morning. I'm going to go do something, kind of light aerobic just to move my body, kind of wake up. And then, I'll make sure to hit, do an actual, like some sort of, workout with whatever's available at the hotel in the after I get back from work for the day. And inevitably I sleep way too late until, I've got about 5 minutes to jump in the shower, throw on my clothes and get out the door so that I can get to work on time. And then I get back and I'm exhausted. I probably ate garbage all day because they cater all our meals and, it's some fast food junk that we've been eating. And I get back and I sit down and all I want to do is just go to sleep. And that repeats itself for about 3 days. And then I finally get to a point where I'm like, okay, I'm ready to do this. And then I leave.
Yeah.
So those weeks I definitely see where the consistency and more of the routine would be more beneficial. But it just is what it is. Here at home, it's a little easier because it's, if I want to go do a quick 20-minute, just sweat session or something out in the garage, I can do that instead of eating lunch or something and then eat lunch while I'm working.
Lunch.
That's not quite as viable when I'm with all my coworkers. Although I did think about packing a 35-pound kettlebell in my suitcase last time and just carrying it around with me in the office.
Have you seen Joe DeSena? He travels with that. So Joe DeSena is the founder of the Spartan Race. He travels with a kettlebell. I don't know if you guys have ever, I didn't know this until recently. I just found out, I think he has a name for it and stuff, but he travels with a kettlebell. I think it's a 35-pound kettlebell. And I'm talking it's his carry-on luggage and he takes it absolutely and he just carries the thing everywhere he goes. Almost like having a suitcase at all times that weighs 35 pounds. So I think that that's a great idea and you should definitely do it.
Maybe I'll do it. Maybe I'll do it for my next trip. And then when we recap again in another year or so, I'll let you know how that's been going.
Yeah, I would love to know. That's, I thought about doing it, but I think I'm not there yet. I'm not ready. I'm not ready for that. Not the level of commitment I'm there. All right, man. Well, give me a quick, for anyone who hasn't listened to your previous episode, or maybe you've gotten some new equipment. What are you working with in your garage?
So I have a full squat rack set up. I picked up a few new bumpers in the last year off of Craigslist. So I think I've got about 450, 500, somewhere in there, pounds of weight between the barbells. Handful of kettlebells. Got a couple, so I think I've got some lighter ones for some of the easy press stuff, and then all the way up to a 70-pound kettlebell. I've got a handful of dumbbells. Got the 20 to 50, 20, 25, 35, and 50, I think. Box, bench, rower. I've had a rower for years. That was actually the first thing I bought, just for those types of days where I wanted to just go out and sweat real quick. I think, do we have anything? That's pretty much it.
It's a good setup.
Yeah, it's a great setup. I mean, I pretty much do everything I want to do. The only thing, I think I said this on the last one, the only thing I really would like to add is some sort of a bike.
They're great.
But I can't justify the spend right now. We've got other things we need to spend our money on. And I constantly look on Craigslist and like the Facebook marketplace, and nobody's ever selling them.
Yeah. I mean, you can get a really crappy one pretty easy, but they're not, it's like, do you even really want it? Yeah.
And I'm a reasonably big dude. I'm still 220 pounds. So I don't know that a crappy beat up one would last very long against me.
Yeah.
That's how I broke my Airdyne.
Yeah, I just got the bike erg, and not that long ago. I don't know what it's been, like 2 months.
Yeah, I saw you got one of those. How do you like it?
Pretty awesome. I love it, man. It's, I'm really enjoying cycling as a conditioning piece right now, and yeah, I really do love it. It's comparable. It's kind of like an Airdyne. Obviously, there's no leg involvement. No arm involvement, but you can also, depending on where you put the damper, it can be very much like a normal bike. You can ride it. Like I've never hopped on an Airdyne and been like, you know what, 60 minutes. Like let's go. And like, I've done that on an Airdyne, but it doesn't feel like when you're riding a bike, it feels like you're riding an Airdyne for 60 minutes. Right. And so it's definitely a different beast, but I do like it a lot. Very durable. Works really well. Integrates with a lot of different things, which has been really cool. So yeah. All right, man. Well, let's, I want to talk about, I don't want to rehash any of these other questions that we've asked before. So I want to say, what keeps you going? Because here we are, we're talking almost a year later, still following, our programming specifically, which is awesome, man. I want to first thank you for that. And two, ask you, kind of why, why us, and what keeps you going?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So let's see where we start on that one. So first of all, why Garage Gym Mathlete? I just really enjoyed the way the workouts are structured. I like the ideas and kind of the theory behind all of it. I know you've been doing a lot of posting and talking about concurrent training lately. And I've seen the benefit from it. It's worked well for me. My strength numbers have gone up. I'm not the greatest cardio aerobic person ever. So anytime there's a workout that's like very, very aerobic, I always kind of roll my eyes and think, I don't really want to do this. But, so I do it anyways. But yeah, so I think that's a lot of it. And then the other thing that I just really enjoy, there's, I think I mentioned this last year too, just the Facebook community that exists in conjunction with all of this is just fun. There's always heckling going on, and it's the right mix of heckling and friendly banter and encouragement. There's always something going on that's worth reading.
Just enough heckling and help. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's the right balance of heckling and help.
I don't know who heckles.
Until we have to jerk Joe's leash back.
Joe never heckles anyone.
Yeah.
Or gets heckled by any of us.
Never.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
And just for the record, I tend not to heckle that much. I just point out sometimes when people are making easy decisions. That's about as far as I go with heckling. Joe's the heckler. That's the guy. If ever anyone's wondering, who does
stir in the pot.
Yeah. And you might just get heckled back on someone's Instagram stories.
Yep. Yes. Yeah. So I drop the creamsicle, man. Like let's just talk about it.
Okay.
I put orange juice on my grocery list just so I can try this because I have awesome vanilla protein.
Yeah.
You still need to get the vanilla protein.
I know. I need to I need to. I will. So I think we talked about this last time, right?
I don't think so. No.
No. Okay. How did I already know? I knew about it before your Instagram story. I thought you like posted in the group or something like that.
Well, yeah, I think. Well, so the Instagram story was in response. So you had an Instagram post and you were asking about recovery stuff because Joe was talking about earning his Fit Aid. And then I think you posted or Joe posted, I'm not sure who posted that one, but asked what everybody drinks post workout for recovery. And I commented that that's what I drank. And then Joe started heckling me as that it was probably something I just threw together one day with random things I happened to have around.
It seemed logical of like, dang, I'm at the gym. I have protein, but there's no water around. But I have this OJ. Well, let's just do it. Because I'm pretty sure I've done something like that before. I do it with coffee sometimes.
How would there not be water around? There's always water.
You're in Arizona.
There's not going to be random orange juice laying around, but not water.
Yeah. Well, maybe exactly. You're prepared for vitamin C, but not for water. Or you drank all your water.
Okay, let me catch everybody up who's listening. So I knew this. I knew there was some background to it. I just forgot where I originally heard about it. I didn't know if we talked about it last time, but you just reminded me. So it was Instagram. Joe asked about recovery drinks or something like that, and Jason posted an awesome recipe, and then he just recently tagged us in his Instagram story of him making it. So share the recipe with everyone listening. I haven't done it yet. I want to. And then now watching your video made me want to do it even more because it looks absolutely delicious. So share the recipe with the
So it's just, it's real simple. It's, so you take like 8 ounces of orange juice. I add about 4 ounces of water just to kind of get a little more liquid in there. And then, it kind of depends on what level protein content you need. I do about 55 grams, which is 3 scoops of what I have. And then that ends up working out to about a 1-to-1 carb to protein ratio, which I find works well for me post workout. And then it tastes good because it tastes like your childhood and creamsicles. And
it sounds pretty good. So the 55 grams, is that 55 grams of straight protein or 55 grams of powder? Because sometimes they're a little bit, sometimes they're not 1 for 1,
Yeah, no, it's not 1 for 1. It's 55 grams of the powder. So the one that I have is, so I use, Naked Nutrition, Less Naked Whey. I really like it. It's grass-fed whey. And then the only things that are in there are like coconut sugar and
okay, awesome.
So I really like it because it's really clean. It's literally what I want it to be. And so, and I think I'd have to look now, but I think 55 grams of the powder is like 38 grams of protein or something like that.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, that we're gonna have to add it to the list. Sounds amazing, and I definitely want to try it. Joe, what's your go-to recovery drink?
It, Joe? Yeah. Sorry,
awfully silent.
I like to change it up. It's the spice of life. Sometimes I because whatever I train at like 10:30, 11 o'clock. So sometimes I have like a half a cup of coffee left. So I'm like, I'll just put this coffee into my chocolate or vanilla protein, and then I put some PB into it, and then it's like a mocha PB something or other that I don't know how to name. Yeah. So it's just depends on the day. Sometimes we do smoothies.
I'm just laughing. I'm laughing internally at Joe's understanding of water fountains in gyms and how apparently most water fountains in gyms have orange juice coming out of them instead of water.
Mr. Deeds.
Yeah, Mr. Deeds. That's a Hawaiian punch. Yeah. I mean, gyms should start doing something like that. I still wouldn't go, but that's just another perk that they could charge people for.
How can we accelerate the obesity epidemic?
Put sugar in the water fountains.
Put juice in water fountains.
Hey, that'll keep the clients coming back, I guess. But
it really does sound like the perfect recovery shake. So I'm gonna give it a try.
All right,
sounds good. I will tag you when it happens.
I will bring vanilla protein to Tahoe, and we'll give it a try.
I wish I was able to make that happen.
Where can you even get orange juice at a place?
I don't know. Tahoe? Maybe they won't have orange juice there. Just like some gyms don't have water.
Yeah,
we'll see. We'll see what happens. Yeah, only in Arizona.
We just don't have water. There's just no water.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, let's get to these questions. See if they've changed at all over the last year. What is the hardest workout you've ever done?
What did we do? There was something we did not too long ago. I'm trying to think.
I blinked it out of my memory. It's just
exactly.
I want to get.
I don't remember. What was it? It had me just laid out. Oh, you know what? It was. So I did. I was looking for a workout one day where I was doing something different, and there was a Chris Spieler workout. It's like his program called Icon 1, and it's 30. It's 3 rounds of 30 wall balls and 30 power cleans or something like that.
Okay, 30 wall balls, 30 power cleans, 3 rounds.
Yeah, and it was the power cleans are at 135. No,
why wouldn't they just do 33 reps where we can get to 100 real quick there?
Because math is hard.
Whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. All I know is I got done with that, and I just laid down and laid on my garage floor for like 10 minutes.
That sounds.
Sounds like Patriot.
Brutal. Yeah, it was. I remember. No, it wasn't. Maybe it was only 50. Shoot, it's 20 and 20. Maybe I don't remember the numbers now. I remember looking at it and thinking, oh, this is kind of like the CrossFit workout Grace, and that only takes like 4 minutes, so this won't be that bad. Mm-hmm. And it was way worse.
Now you got 100 cleans in there almost. That's it's gonna be real bad.
I gotta look that up now because now I'm trying to remember what it was. Because I feel like I'm gonna do a wonderful man a disservice by misquoting what the workout is.
Either way, I'm sure your butt and hips were pretty sore after that because that's a lot of power in there for back-to-back movements.
Yeah. So here we go. I just found it. Sorry, I know everybody who's like watching or listening to this is probably like, please stop. 3 rounds for time, 20 wall balls, 20 power cleans. And technically the wall balls are actually supposed to be at 30 pounds, but I don't own a 30-pound wall ball, so I scaled that.
That's the only wall ball I own because of Joe. Awesome.
Why is it Joe's fault that you only own a 30-pound wall ball?
I didn't own a wall ball, and then he bought me one, and it was 30 pounds.
30.
And so I don't even use a 20-pound wall ball ever. It's just and if you've ever noticed in our programming, we don't normally have 20-pound wall balls programmed. It's normally 30 pounds.
Ipso facto, thanks to me.
I see wall ball, and that's a 20-pounder because that's what I have.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Now, in your opinion, what's the best activity for building mental toughness? And has that answer changed?
It really, I don't think it's really changed that much. I mean, I think anytime you have to just push yourself to do something outside your comfort zone, you're going to build that mental toughness. I mean, like we were talking about earlier with consistency and routine and working out, if I'm off my routine, it gets, you get to that point where you just have to say, all right, I got to do this because this is something I need to do. Or when I'm on those trips and I do finally buckle down and say, all right, I got to get this done because it just needs to happen, even though I don't want to. I think you're building, the ability to kind of the next time. I feel like every time you do that, it just gets a little bit easier. Like it's a little less difficult to convince yourself to do whatever it is that you don't want to do.
Just takes time.
Unless it's eating mayonnaise. There's no way around that.
No, I gave that up about.
Joe sounds like a mayonnaise fan. You like mayonnaise, don't you?
I use it because I use avocado oil mayonnaise, and I also used to make my own.
I don't eat mayonnaise on principle, not on taste.
If I need, I can't handle the taste. And if I just want some fat on something, I'm just going to put an avocado on it.
So it's not like I eat sandwich. Actually, the only thing I use mayonnaise for is I make this awesome chicken salad. I cook a whole chicken and I pick it and I put a bunch of stuff in it. And mayonnaise is just kind of the wetness to it, and it's fantastic.
Greek yogurt is where it's at for me.
But he's got an answer, a response to anything. Like you don't have to use mayonnaise. He's got got it figured out.
# team no mayo.
Well, that's the thing.
All right, man. If you could only have one piece of equipment to train with for the rest of your life, what would it be?
I'm going to stick to my original answer, which was a kettlebell.
Kettlebell. All right. Yeah. I thought the barbell was going to make a comeback this season, but I don't think it is.
I went, like I said, I went back and listened to our podcast. We talked about this last time around. I feel like the podcast is the barbell is a cop-out answer because it's a system, not a single piece of equipment.
Right. Yeah. It'd be like saying squat rack, right? It's like,
right.
Or a rack of kettlebells.
Yeah. Or a rack of kettlebells or a complete set of my complete set of dumbbells.
Or 170 acres of land. Was that Trampus? I can't remember who said that. I was like,
something like that.
Yeah. All right. Joe, do you want to speak in there, or
you kind of already answered it? You want to add a bike, right?
Yeah.
Now, would it be like an Airdyne or a spin bike or Peloton?
Yeah, I think so. I'm kind of on the fence right now about the air bike, just for the brutality of like the assault bike and the Echo, or kind of I know Joe. Gosh, sorry, I'm mixing you guys up. Jared was talking about the bike erg, and I've seen a lot of people get those lately, and that fascinates me as well. So I'm trying to decide between one or the other when I save up enough money to do
so. That it is a tough call. Like I have a crappy Airdyne, like a really bad one that I got for very cheap. It was, a great deal. But if I had to pick now, I wouldn't buy an air bike over a bike erg.
Yeah.
And the only reason being is because I only ever used an air bike in workouts, like a Metcon or something we're doing mixed mode or whatever. Like that's the only time I'd ever really use it. Maybe warm up, maybe cool down. But I never really use, it's great for like short duration sprints. I don't know if there is anything better for getting your heart rate elevated or tapping into an energy system, but I just don't feel like it translates to much else out there. Yeah. And I think that the bike is just, whether it's the bike erg or some other bike, Joe's looking at a bunch of different spin bikes. I just think that they're a little bit more useful on a day-to-day basis and they're relatively close in price. I think like a bike erg is like $1,000 and like it's like $750 for like the Rogue Echo or something like that. I think is the gap. So it is a little bit more, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not that
enormous.
But I've used the Echo, man, and it is like that Echo is probably 10 times better than my current Airdyne. So it is a tough call, but I just think that I like the functionality of being able to train aerobically on a bike more than.
Yeah. Do you do like when we do the like 10 and 20 second sprints in the programming, do you find that the erg works well for those?
Yes. Then that's the thing, is that you can almost turn it. So the only downside, and this is more of like I would say outside of our programming is the downside. Like we hit up almost, full body, let's just say full body over the course of a week. The only downside is like, you're not moving your arms, right? So you don't get that part in the workout. Right. But if you move an erg up to 10, like, do you have a Concept 2 rower? I know you have a rower. Is it Concept 2? So if you move that up to a 10 and you start rowing, that's like, it's like you're rowing in mud, right? So it's very similar. Like, if I'm pedaling for, say I was going to do 60 minutes on the erg, I'd be at like a 3. And if I want to go up to a 10, then I'm doing like a 10, 20 second sprint, and it's hard to get started, but and your legs will start filling with blood really fast, just like they do on an Airdyne. So you can still use it for that really hard stuff. The only con is your arms aren't involved, which isn't necessarily a con in my opinion. Yeah, you could punch or put dumbbells in your hand.
Yeah, just punch it. Air flight. You gotta hang one of those speed bags.
Yeah. But that's the one thing I don't, when we do those 10, 20 second intervals, I don't particularly care. It's hard on my body. My body does not handle that well for running. That's just hard on my knees and ankles. And so I would prefer to use a bike if I can, because you just can't do the rower for 10 seconds. It just doesn't work.
Yeah. It's hard to get started at that low. Like, it's hard to get heart rate elevated or anything. And I'll say another thing I like about it, for me specifically, I don't know if this is true for everyone. It might be. I just haven't talked to a lot of people using specifically Concept 2 bike erg, but my run times and my bike erg times are almost 1-for-1 the same if I double it. All I have to do is double it. So like 1,600 meter run, so a mile, and 3,200 on the bike. Like, I'm going to clock in at within 10 seconds the same. And so I've really been enjoying that. So if there's a mile in the workout and I don't want to run a mile, or like say my knee was hurting or something like that, then I'll do 2 miles on the erg, and it's almost the exact same. And it's just so similar. Like, you could even like sit upright, and if you're moving your feet, it's almost like you're running. It's very similar, monostructural movement with less impact. So I like that factor as well. And I don't know if that works out for everybody the same, but it's been working out for me. Like, because a lot of people talk about that, like, okay, well, I can't I can't run today. What's the distance on the rower? And I'm like, I don't really know. Like, I don't think that it works out, but for some reason it's been working out like very close to the same on the bike and running for me. That's my last.
You're kind of selling me on it. Now I just gotta round up $1,000.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm not trying to sell you on it. I just think that I went through this debate for like, I think 2 months before I bought it. I was like, I was going to get rid of my Airdyne and just get like the Rogue Echo is what I was going to do.
Okay.
But then I was like, okay, well, and so I was going to sell a piece of equipment, put that money towards the Echo, and then buy the Echo. And instead, I kept the Airdyne and just bought an erg. So this is like the worst financial decision. But yeah, that's what I ended up doing. All right, man. Well, let's get to the last question here. Best advice you have for all the garage gym athletes out there?
I think it's just find what you love and stick to it. I think that's really what's worked for me. I really love the barbell stuff. I just like the way that our programming is structured, and it works well for me. And because of that, I've been more consistent this year than I've been in any other year previously. I think I'm on track. One of my goals this year was 250 training days awesome. throughout the year, and I'm on pace to hit that, even with a couple of months where I traveled a bunch and my training days were down a little bit. I was able to kind of make it up on a few other months, but and I think what's really crazy about that is like I'm training more than I ever did in previous years, and I feel better. Like I'm not. I don't feel blown out. I don't ever get to a point in any week. Most weeks I rarely ever get to a point where I'm like, man, I don't feel like I can move enough to do another workout. And I think a lot of that's just because of the structure of the programming as it is. And so, I mean, it's, find what you love, stick with it, set some goals and get after it.
Awesome, man. I appreciate that. And love having you on the podcast, man. I'd love to do another recap. Maybe we won't have to wait as long next time, and love having you in the community. So thanks for spending your time with us today. And thanks for being a garage gym athlete.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to hearing how your creamsicle recovery shakes are.
Oh, I'll let you know. Thanks for listening to the Garage Gym Athlete podcast. If you want to learn more, go to garagegymathlete.com. You can learn about our training. Let us send you a copy of our book, The Garage Gym Athlete, or you can even get featured on the Garage Gym Athlete podcast. Thanks for listening.